I saw my front door. I knew something was wrong. The locks had been changed. My garage was packed with someone else's furniture, and my wife was standing inside with her brother like they were waiting for a stranger. Then my brother-in-law looked at me and said, "You don't live here anymore." He had no idea that one document in my desk drawer was about to change everything. My name is Daniel Carter. I am 45 years old, and until that day, I thought the hardest thing I did ever have to deal with was losing my father. I was wrong. It I had been married to Melissa for 23 years. We lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Columbus, Ohio, in a house I did purchased long before we got married. I was not a mansion. I was not even particularly fancy, but it was home. My father had helped me with the down payments when I was 31, and after he passed away, the house became the one place where I still felt connected to him. Melissa knew that, at least I thought she did. Everything changed when her younger brother Travis lost his job. Melissa called me one evening and said he just needs somewhere to stay for a week. I knew what a few weeks meant in my family language. Still agreed. Travis arrived with two suitcases. Within 10 days, he had six boxes. Within 3 weeks, he had taken over half the garage, and within a month he started giving me opinions about my own house. You should replace his coach. You don't really need this office. You Why do you keep all these old tools? I tried to laugh it off. Then one Saturday morning, I noticed Travis had moving my father's desk from the study. I asked where it was. He shrugged. Melissa said, "We are turning that room into a guest room." I looked at my wife. She would not look at me. That was the first moment I realized this was not about Travis needing somewhere to say. Something else was happening. Over the next few weeks, Melissa became distant. She started having private conversing with Travis. Whenever I entered a room, they did suddenly stop talking. One night, I heard my name from the hallway. Travis said he will fight it. You tell him. Melissa answered, "That's why we have to do it while he is at work." I froze. I stood there in the dark, listening. Then Travis said something that made my stomach drop. Once his stuff is out, he won't have anywhere to go. I walked away before they knew I did heard them. The next morning, I did not comfort them. Instead, I went to work like normal, but I could not concentrate. At lunch, I called my friend Marcus. I told him everything. He was quite for a few seconds. Then he asked me one question. Daniel, whose name is actually on the deed? I said mine. He replied, then stop arguing with people and starting protecting yourself. That sentence staying with me. That evening I went home early. The house looked normal to normal. Melissa smiled at me and asked how my day was. I smiled back, but something felt wrong. 2 days later, I left for work at 7:30 in the morning. At 5:14 that evening, I drove home, and that's when I say it. My belongings were sitting on the driveway, not a few things, everything, my cloth, my books, my father photographs, even the old coffee mug I did used every morning for 15 years. There were 23 boxes, and taped to front door was a note: please don't make this harder than it needs to be. I stood there starting at it. Then the front door opened. Melissa appeared. Travis stood behind her. I asked, what is this? She said, Daniel, we are separating. I looked at the boxes. You are separating from me. So you moved my belongings outside. She said, the house is going to be Travis's place for now. I almost laughed. Excuse me. Travis stopped forward. Melissa and I talked about it. You need somewhere else to stay. I looked at him, then I looked at my wife, and instead of yelling, I asked one question: did either of you check the deed? They looked at each other. Travis laughed. He actually laughed. Daniel, you have been married for 23 years. This is not about paperwork. I nodded slowly. Okay, then I picked up my father's photograph from one of the boxes. I walked to my car and I called my attorney. Her name was Rachel Morgan. I did used her years earlier from property issues. I explained everything. She asked me to send her a copy of deed. I did. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Rachel said, Daniel, do not go inside that house. I asked why. She said, because you are about to discover something very important. My heart started racing. She continued, your name is the only name on the deed. I already knew that. Then she added, and there is no lease giving Travis any right to occupy the property. I was silent. Rachel said, if they changed the locks and removed your belongings without your permission, this is no longer just a marital argument. The next morning, Rachel filed the necessary paperwork. By lunchtime, a court order had been issued, and by the evening, Travis was standing on the driveway holding a trash bag full of his clothes. The man who had told me I did not live there anymore was now asking me where he has supposed to go. I did not answer. Melissa came outside crying. She said, Daniel, please we can work this out. I looked at her for 23 years. I had believed marriage meant protecting each other even when things became difficult. But she had watched her brother throw my belongings onto a driveway and never once told him to stop. So I said something very simple. You did not lose your husband today, Melissa. She started at me. You lost him weeks ago. Today you just discovered it. I moved back into my house that weekend. The boxes were still everywhere. I spent hours putting everything back. Then I found my father old photograph. The frame was cracked. I sat on the floor holding it, and for the first time the entire week I cried, not because of the house, because I finally understood something. The thing you are fighting to keep is not the house, it's the life you thought you had inside it. A month later, Melissa and I started the divorce process. Travis moved in with friends and I changed the locks again. This time I kept the receipt. My friend Morris came over a few days later. He looked around the house and said, "So, how does it feel?" I thought about it. Then I smiled quite. He laughed, and honestly, that's exactly what is. Was quite for the first time in years. My home felt like my home again, and I learned a lesson I wish I did understood much earlier. Family can ask for your help. They can ask for your forgiveness. They can even ask for another chance. But the moment they started treating your kindness like ownership, you have every right to draw a line. And sometimes the strongest revenge is not destroying someone, it's simply taking your life back and refusing to let them take it from you again. If you enjoy my real life family drama stories, so subscribe to my channel and like to this video, and press to the bell icon for next new more one video. And thank you so much.